Patron, baby. Welcome to Thought Crimez, everyone. This is your girl, Sincere, and I'm here with...
Hey, this is your man, Prince Solomon. We're going to go ahead and talk about Drogas Light, variations of the album cover, and now Lupe Fiasco is saying, wait a minute now, I must admit myself. Of course, me not being biased because I'm talking about myself, right, Lupe? But he's saying that, look, the Black Panther movie soundtrack cover is too much like his. And he says, I am not a citizen of Wakanda. I do not tolerate this. So
yeah.
That's what he's kind of making a fuss about on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, personally with me, I think he needs to be careful with the cover part. What he says about Kendrick Lamar as a lyricist, that's his personal opinion. Everybody has their different taste and judgment. But, to me, when I look at the cover, it just looks like the spirit of Wakanda. And it's shrouded around, the color black. And that's what I get from it, the spirit of Wakanda, maybe the spirit of Black Panther. So I don't get why Lupe's tripping in that case, over that. His cover has a different connotation to it, it's a different meaning to it. So
his cover has a smudge print on it. When I look at Kendrick Lamar's cover, I don't see Lupe Fiasco. That's all I gotta say. I don't see him.
I don't.
And also, I will say this, side note, again, this is Lupe Fiasco, talented, gifted. I wouldn't even say talented. He's a gifted lyricist.
He's a gifted, pretentious lyricist.
Yeah, this is that competitive side of Lupe that he just don't want to just say it is what it is. Look, I want to get at this boy with the bars because he been tapping Kendrick Lamar since that Control verse. That's been in 2013. It's like 5 years ago. So he's been, even on his last recent, he was doing
he's in line with Jay Electronica and them then.
Right, yeah. So, Lupe Fiasco, let's just keep it real. Let's go and put the skateboards up now. Let's get on the monkey bars, the rap bars. You've been getting at Kendrick Lamar for a minute now. Come on, Lupe, just say it is what it is. I want to challenge him to the middle of the stage in Wakanda.
And I think this is good for hip hop. I don't have a problem with this. I think people should say how they feel.
Right.
He shouldn't be. I know a lot of people are getting at him, and I have disagreements with him, of course. But I think this is good for hip hop, and people need to speak however they feel. So let's go into one of the tweets from Lupe. I'll put it to you like this: K. Dot is not a top tier lyricist to me, and my standards when it comes to punchlines and bars. His overall lyrics are good, his story's phenomenal, but punchline, entendre, lyrically, I don't see it. Then his second tweet says, I've never been destroyed. Also, the only issue that the world thinks I have with K. Dot, and I actually do, is that I think his Control verse was whack and super overhyped to be a verse claiming.
Did I call it?
Yeah.
Now we get down to it. Let's just say what it is. That damn verse has been haunting his ass for a minute.
Well, he said, and super overhyped to be a verse claiming you are the best rapper. It was very weird. I was told it was just bait, but still. My thing is, personally, it's understand that you feel the verse was overhyped. But weird, I don't see how it's weird because you have a lot of people who've claimed to be, the best rapper, from Tupac to LL Cool J.
To Noriega.
I mean, you had ASAP fucking Funky Rocky on stage saying I'm the best, even though I know people laughed at it. But he was on stage not too long ago, ASAP Rocky saying I'm the best.
So can we just go ahead and call this for what it is? Can we have both gentlemen step to the dusty circle in Wakanda and go ahead and do a wrestling match? Let's just go on and get it out there.
A rap match. Let's see. Yeah. Bars for bars.
Now, here's the thing about it. There's a lot of things, like goofy stuff Lupe Fiasco has said on social media that's just, it's like, come on, man, like really. However, though, on the flip side, I do agree with him with his lyrical assessment of Kendrick Lamar. Like, Kendrick Lamar is not a punchline heavy MC, not so much heavy emphasis on the double entendres, none of that. But as he stated, his wordplay, as far as the narrative skills, excellent, magnificent. But I would like to see them just go ahead and get into it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Lupe has been as disrespectful as Jay Electronica. He's just been he's been poking at Kendrick Lamar for like I said, for a minute now. And I think he kind of felt left out. Then also, Kendrick Lamar kind of filled the space a little bit to some degree that Lupe was hovering around in for a minute.
Yeah, like here's the thing I would say for Lupe. I personally don't think to be a top tier lyricist you have to be punchline heavy. You know, when you think about Kendrick Lamar's lyrics, there's a lot of metaphors there. Of course, as he gave him kudos for and what you just stated, a storyline, but he does have punchlines too. You know, I think that we're overlooking that. I just think when it comes to punchlines, though, he's not like he's
not like Lupe.
He's not the greatest of all time with punchlines. He's not, you know, Redman with punchlines. He's, you know, like people when you think of that who are punchline heavy. But he has punchlines in his in a lot of his songs actually. But they are story driven first.
Yeah, it's not so much emphasis on that, you know, with Kendrick, and then also. The type of punchlines a lot of times that Lupe has, a lot of times if somebody's not paying attention, they do go over a lot of people's heads. So when you think of punchlines, sometimes immediately Lupe Fiasco's name doesn't come to the top. You know, that's another thing about it as well. So it'll be interesting, you know, to see what takes place from here. But I do think for the most part, Lupe Fiasco he's trolling. He's trolling. And come on, this is a soundtrack. This is a Black Panther soundtrack. This is cross promotional marketing. There's like a whole nother project attached to this body of work that Kendrick Lamar is working on. Whereas with Lupe, it's him putting out his album, you know? So again, and that may not be even having anything to do with Kendrick Lamar's personal choice for that album cover itself. So in this case, I think Lupe Fiasco I think he's reaching and he's trolling too.
Well, you know, and another thing to add on there is like for a top tier MC, a top tier lyricist, there's so many different requirements. One can argue for a Kendrick Lamar and a body of work when it comes to his lyricism. And I just like let's think about what he said about the Control verse. I didn't have a problem with him calling it whack because, you know, if people feel it was overhyped or overrated, again, personal preferences, personal opinions, that's fine. When he said it was weird is what I found to be interesting because that's actually out of everything he said, that's the only thing that stands out weird that he said it actually a bit negative on his part because it's like, what is weird about maybe I would like to hear him clarify if he ever does. What is weird about a MC saying he is the best and calling people to task? We've seen that before.
Well, first of all, my problem. Okay, we talk about the weird thing, right? To me, it just seemed like he was kind of. He's kind of, you know, he's like, you know, like
a little bit salty.
Yeah, there you go. It looked like it kind of smelled like Epsom salt was in the room. You know what I'm saying? So, and then on top of that, for the word weird to be described by anyone,
especially Lupe
Fiasco, who, you know, that's been synonymous with his whole, you know, body of work, his personality throughout the career. But I will say this though. You know, however Lupe Fiasco chooses to engage with one Kendrick Lamar, you know, if we're talking about whether he really considers, you know, Kendrick an elite MC, which it doesn't matter. He's another of Kendrick Lamar's peers, but it's what the people vote for. You know, the wave, what the people vote for, he's in there. He's an elite MC. As it stands right now, Kendrick Lamar has a superior body of work collectively as opposed to that of Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah, by one album, right?
Yeah, I think what we got. So Lupe, he did
the Cool,
Food and Liquor first. He did the Cool, and then he did Lasers, and then he did Food and Liquor 2. Then
he has a bunch of solid albums with 2 classics.
Yeah, Tattoo on the Youth, which was a dope album.
Yeah.
But you know, I really would.
Actually, some people like to add in that as a third though.
Yeah, with Tattoo on the Youth.
Yeah.
It's weird because I saw one guy, I can't think of the guy's name right now, prominent hip-hop historian on YouTube, and he did a video why Tattoo on the Youth is like Lupe's underrated classic, and then like I saw a wave of people after that was saying the same thing.
But it's a damn good album.
It's a good album, but I haven't, like, when the album dropped, I didn't hear people talking about it as much, you know what I'm saying?
Take the people aside, I'm saying this as a body of work, do you think it can be worthy of being a classic?
I don't think not a classic, you know, no, it's not a classic, but it's definitely, it was much better than some of the previous efforts, you know.
Of course it's better than Lasers,
you know,
I mean.
Lasers, I don't know how I feel about it standing next to Food and Liquor 2.
Food and Liquor 2 was almost, it had too many duds on there, like about 3 songs that just Heavy Heart or Brave Heart, some shit. Like just some shit that just didn't need to be on there.
Yeah.
Started off strong, fizzled out.
Yes, it did.
But he never has had an ass album, even Lasers, which was sonically like,
Yeah.
Lyrically though, he's never had an ass out. Yeah, it's like two classics definitely, and a bunch of solid.
I think I will say this, and you have to be fair to Lupe Fiasco, even his personality right now, because he had some things that happened with his career that it just
so that means he could take it out on K-Dot.
Hey man, if they get in the booth and take it out on each other, because K-Dot isn't, he will.
He said he been itching.
Yeah, K-Dot.
He said he been itching for a battle.
Yeah, K-Dot ain't a bitch now.
Here it is.
Let's make no mistake about it. This ain't no bullying shit. Let's get that out. No, Lupe ain't bullying K-Dot. If anything, that shit could easily turn.
I want to see him test it though, because what I will say is this is why Lupe needs to clarify when he said it was weird. Are you saying it was weird because you felt the MCs he listed weren't, anything to list for an actual battle, and you feel like it was just weird energy there? Because you feel, well, what do you feel it was set up or a ploy, like you said, a bait, or are you saying it was weird? Are you saying it was weird because you're just salty? So it's like it would be interesting to see which one it is.
I just want you to go in the booth with the Gatling gun. That's all I want. Let's just cut to it and let's see who's the better lyricist. That's what I want to see. Who's the better lyricist? Are we going to get a sweaty Kendrick Lamar? Or are we going to get a skateboarding Lupe Fiasco with twists all in his hair? Okay? Who we going to get? I don't want Lupe Fiasco to show up with wheatgrass hanging out of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? I want the jacket too small on the front of the album cover, Food and Liquor, sleeves pushed up, bootleg Thriller jacket, Lupe Fiasco. I want buzz cut Ja Rule, buzz cut Lupe Fiasco. So I would be interested in seeing how this plays out. But I will say this, as a Lupe Fiasco fan and a Kendrick Lamar fan, I have been listening to the subliminals that Lupe has been throwing out at Kendrick for the past, 5 years. And I think Kendrick, he's thrown some subliminal jabs back. It is what it is. I got the glow now. And I will say this, because of things that did take place behind the scenes and maybe some moves that Lupe Fiasco could have made a little better, but everything's 20/20 hindsight, especially when you're not that person. I think hip hop has prematurely closed the casket on the lyricist known as Lupe Fiasco.
Lupe did it to himself. I wouldn't even say the people. The people waited for him.
Yeah.
He had, a struggle with it. In this case, I'm actually, from my personal perspective, he can't blame the fans. Mm-hmm. He had issues with Atlantic Records that stalled him. There are people who was waiting for certain projects that was.
How long did they hold that album up for Atlantic? It was like a couple years.
Yeah. So for him, it really had his own him being pretentious, him having his issues with the label, the record label, just a lot of things happening to him personally, getting up in that whole Chief Keef conversation. It's just the Obama thing. It's just a lot.
He jumped out the face on that Obama stuff. He should have waited. He should have waited until Cornel West's afro cleared the floodgates.
Yeah.
I would have let Cornel West's afro take all them shots.
And I don't even think Obama is the biggest of it all. I just think, I think the label was number one, and then 2, the Obama thing.
I think also personality-wise, because we
that would be 3.
Yeah, I think the fans are just kind of like, So, hey man, all I want to see is, let's stop all the dialogue. Let's stop all the pontificating, Lupe Fiasco. We don't need you to be like the Michael Lyric Dyson of hip hop and talking about what you're going to bring. We just want to see what you got. If you feel like you want to call out the giant midget, if you want to call him out, call him out. I'm sure you more than likely will get a reply, and that'll be a very interesting battle for 2018. We are due. I think Kendrick Lamar in his career, he's due for a great battle. He's accomplished everything else. Lupe Fiasco, you due for one too as well, because you've been skateboarding and on them scooters and them BMX bikes for a while. Now you a Street Fighter champ, so we want to see what you got. All right, so you got any final thoughts on this one?
Everyone, leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to Thought Crimez. Don't forget to hit that bell so you can be notified when we have a live stream.
Facts.
Or when we have a video to upload.
Thank you very much. And y'all pay attention to the live streams in the mornings. We got y'all as well. Of course, this is your man, Prince Solomon.
And this is your girl, Sincere.
Yo, we are out. Peace.
Go to our Patreon for more. And don't bother me.
Kim woke up feeling great and wanted to tell her friends some wonderful news. Firing up her desktop, she went to Facebook to log in, only to find herself in Facebook jail. It was then she was freed by Black Spot. She quickly heads over to the website and creates her account, not having to worry about Facebook's intrusive policies. Freedom. Be smart. Be like Kim. Join Black Spot.
I see you're jealous and envy. Sorry you can't offend me. Was raised a quarter way and I never thought